Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Steven Morley. I'm the Sales Director for Zinzino UK and Ireland. I joined the company January the 1st this year. In those few months, we've basically grown 400%. We have new diamonds and high levels. We have people going for even higher levels so far. The UK is certainly an exciting part of the Zinzino business. I've had leaders from pretty much every market we're in now over the past month or so wanting to build a business here. And tonight, as in every Monday night, we have an audience with. So we have a special guest, whether it's someone corporate or a leader in the business. And tonight, I've really got a great guy to share with you. 30 years ago, I first met him when I first started in this industry. I've always been corporate in this industry. And Dave Ives has always been in the field, pretty much. And Dave has been one of the main people in the UK who's helped me get going, who's basically brought in an amazing set of people, an amazing team, and very excited for that. Dave's already made diamond in the business very quickly, and he's going for a lot more at the moment. And I thought tonight, as we've launched this week, it would be very nice to have an audience with Dave Ives. Dave, as I said, has been one of the main catalysts for the success of Zinzino in the UK so far. And Dave, pleasure that you're on the call tonight.
Steve, it does feel a little bit deja vu, flashback. I remember that very first company I embarked on when I was 21. Right, 52 years young now. 30 years ago, I walked into a big, impressive building in Milton Keynes, and there you were, still dripping at the nose, wet behind the ears. I think you started off with that multi-billion-dollar company as the warehouse person, right? And that's where your career started. So your career started around the same time as mine did.
Absolutely, and who would have thought 30 years later, here we are. I mean, it's absolutely incredible how our journeys have brought us together like this. A bit of fate, really. But what first attracted you to direct sales, Dave?
I mean, for me, as a 21-year-old, I was traveling. My background was sports. For those who know me, my dream and passion was to be a pro rugby union guy until I snapped my ligaments. I played for England Colts very competitively, played for my town, and I was about to go pro. It was actually the year before they made the union professional. So it was the year where they still got you a very good job. It doesn't matter if you were academically qualified, you still got a good job in the bank or somewhere like Nike because they got you time off to train with your country and play rugby. But I snapped my knee ligament. So I went into the next thing, catering. And then before actually committing to most things, I decided to travel. And I traveled and I was in Florida, and someone literally, for those who don't recall back then, there used to be a footwear called kickers. I had bright red kickers on. I was playing beach ball and volleyball, long blonde hair, ponytail, half the man I was then. And someone just literally, as we were playing volleyball, said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I said, "Nothing." Why? He said, "Do you keep your options open? I've got a business presentation." And that was it. I said, "Yeah." And the thing that actually, the answer to your question, long story, the answer to your question was, he said there'll be donuts and coffee there. That's how I got in the industry, right? That's how I got in the industry. And people try to do everything perfectly, Steve. You know, because we have become so polished at times, we think we have to be good at something. And what I've learned in my career is you can't be that good to get people in who aren't looking. You can't be that bad to keep them out if they are. But I got in for donuts and coffee.
Donuts, that just tells you how easy it can be, right? It's not always so easy, but I guess you were just looking for something.
Well, I was living in Florida. Well, I was bumming in Florida. I was living out there and just playing beach ball. I was driven to this for 6 hours. Again, nothing could have gone perfectly wrong, more perfectly wrong. Drove me for 6 hours to my first meeting. Pulled up at this trailer park. They call them in a trailer park in America. In the United Kingdom, we call them caravan parks. And the individual who was sharing the opportunity was a house painter. but he shared his story about how, as a house painter and his wife, a Pizza Hut waitress, had changed their life. And I got to be honest, what he showed me made sense, but I didn't get in on the logic. I'm one of those emotional types. You know, he pulled my heartstrings where he talked about the dream wheel, where most of us, particularly when we get to 30 plus, our dreams, aspirations start to slow down or seize, and then we become a realist because we judge what we want to get out of life based on how much we're earning, rather than when we started earning, we looked at what we wanted and we chose a way to get there. And so he got my dream wheel spinning again. And that was a gentleman who became my very first sponsor, opened my eyes to entrepreneurship, and in essence became my very best friend, who still is my best friend today, 30 years on.
That's fantastic. You see, worked with you've had, you know, great success with some companies, maybe not so great success with other companies. What's the difference? What does it boil down to in terms of kind of that side of things?
Where do you start? I think that's, you know, the where I've had success, I've got to say that the infrastructure was in place. The infrastructure was in place. They had something that was relevant that I was excited about or passionate about. So I wasn't selling, I was sharing. And I think most importantly, I believe it was then, is today, and always will be. It's not getting in, it's who you get in with. And so I was blessed the very first time I joined the company was already $1 billion company when I got in. So the business was proven. Whether I was willing to be coachable, teachable, but I was 21, I was still bulletproof. Okay. You know, that ego thing was still at the forefront. You know, I was a Mr. Batthink, you can't hurt me, my wings are made of steel ego aspect. And so, but Barry was the first person that was able to break that barrier down for me to start thinking maturely. Because sometimes he taught me sometimes that, you know, winning the fight doesn't mean you win the battle, or winning the battle doesn't mean you're going to win the war. And he taught me a lot of things beyond just making money, because we all can make money. He told me this: we can all go and make money, but it stops when you stop. So you've got to find some way of making money that goes on in the absence of your activity. And the only way to do that is to raise others. To raise others. Zig Ziglar says, help enough people get what they want. Profit share 1% off 100 businesses. Let your ego go, because let someone else get the glory. Just collect your 1%. And that made sense for me. So that's what I found to be the key is it's not getting in, it's who you get in with. Okay, so from first entering the industry, how have you changed and what have you learned? That donuts aren't good for you. I put on a bit of weight. But no, what have I learned the most is at 52 years young, I actually feel that I'm ready to learn. Yeah, that's at 52, I feel like I'm ready to learn, that I'm mature enough to realize that things don't happen when I want them to happen. They don't happen the way I want them to happen. And sometimes they happen way better than I thought they could happen if I just looked further down the road and not instant. But all about sowing. So the biggest lesson I've learned is delayed gratification. Yeah, absolutely. And every time I built businesses with that idea of delayed gratification, but I got caught up in a lot of momentum, I can look back and go, I know where I came off track, and I stopped doing what I was doing to get successful, because I took my foot off the basic activities and thought I'd arrived. So that was the biggest mistake I've made, is I sometimes have thought I had done enough that I could stop and it would just go on. Yeah, I see that people turn into like management mode, don't they? They hit management level, they hit a high level, turn into management, stop doing what they've done to get where they got, and that just duplicates. People see them fall off and it duplicates. So fantastic. So what attracted you to Zinzino? I've got to give a shout out to Marco Passanante, because we were in a previous company together, but we weren't together. I'd seen him from afar. I saw his success as a young man, young enough to be my son, if I had started producing early in my teens. He's about that borderline, right? He's about 16 years younger than me. And I admired what he had done previously. And he reached out to me for 3 years. Here's another big lesson I learned in my career is sometimes people aren't ready to join. And a no doesn't mean no. It means not now sometimes. We don't know what's going to happen 6 months from now if someone's looking or not looking. But Marco had approached me for 3 years, every 6 months. Every 6 months communicated with me. And so April of 2019, so just a year ago, May the 27th, it will be my anniversary with Zinzino. Those couple of successes you spoke about, I'd just come off the back of a couple of failures, right? So I knew what the success could be like. Yeah. I knew the euphoria of how it felt to make more money I could spend each month. Yeah. I had reached the point where I'd learned how turning left was better than turning right on the plane, you know, and the real glasses make a ching rather than a crinkle. So I'd experienced success, but my last two endeavors, I trusted everything I always do. I trust the individual. I trust the company. I trust until they prove me otherwise.
Yeah. Start 100%, work down. Yeah.
But the last two attempts, I failed, not because of my own aspects, but under delivering of their promises. And my failure was I stayed too long. Yeah. And what happened last year was I resigned from a company. I got to tell you, I was hurt. I was hurt. I wasn't, you know, I wasn't like, oh, woe is me, but it was like, can I be bothered?
That's
and
scary,
then I stopped and looked at the alternative. I didn't like the alternative for me. And there's nothing wrong with careers. There's nothing wrong with jobs. There's nothing like that. You know, but for me it was like at 52, am I employable? 52 with what I know, what I've read, what I've learned. Maybe I just need to be open one more time. And Marco caught me at the right time. And his line was, and it will probably engrave somewhere when I acknowledge him for all the success he's achieved and helped me to lay the foundations for, is, Dave, what are you doing? Well, I really don't know, Marco. I'm in a fork in the road. Would it hurt to take a look at what I'm doing? They were the lines that got me in Zinzino, because he then got me in front of Orion, and the rest was history. I looked into Orion Hilda's eyes. I was indebted to Marco for getting me there. But that feeling of this couple in front of me have already proven what Zinzino has done in a few markets. But do you ever sit in front of people, you go, they are going to make it happen with or without me? It's not that they needed me to help get the train going. The train was already going. They had actually stopped at my station called Life, and I had an opportunity to get on the train. And so I did last May 8th. And then I shared it with a great couple. First people I actually spoke to soundboard it off of was Nigel and Sue Booth. So, and almost a year from now, we've been in a year, and I'm so proud of what everyone's doing.
Yeah. So, okay, you've been a year now. Are your feelings to the company and the future, are they the same as when you kind of joined, or are they different now? What's your kind of feeling, passion, understanding between kind of the company and the partners?
You know, I feel quite emotional right now. Actually, I feel like crying to a degree, because Marco said for 3 years, and this is for those who've been in the industry and not had their breakthrough or had a little bit of success, you can maybe relate to this. Marco said to me, Dave, if you're going to do something for long term, if you're going to put the effort in one more time, sounds bizarre. He said, this is a safe place to do it. Doesn't mean it's perfect. Doesn't mean they've got everything figured out. Doesn't mean they've got the dosage caps in everything that goes out, you know. And I look at things that go wrong and I go, sometimes we focus on the minors and we turn it into majors when we lose sight of the major. Yeah. And so Marco was absolutely right. A year on, I tell people right now, Stephen, that I've never been this happy in the industry. Never been. Now there's work to be done, and I don't think there's any lazy people in network marketing. I'll tell you what there are. uninspired people in network marketing. Because when they're inspired, they'll do the work.
Yeah.
But they've got to be inspired by something. And I've been inspired again. My pilot light is not a pilot light. It's a Bunsen burner right now, right? And I can see it's going to turn into a flamethrower in the next 12 months with what you've done in the United Kingdom and how you've positioned and made it very fertile for people who are joining not just our organization, but the Zinzino family.
No, look, I just love the work ethic. I mean, I'm getting messages at 6 a.m. I'm getting messages at midnight. I mean, basically that is what I absolutely love. So it's although I'm corporate, it's not work, you know, it is.
I recalled those, Steve, and then I put them on a timer to send to you so you think I'm doing it 24/7.
No, because I respond and you respond back. So, no, I understand what you're saying, and I have the same feeling. I mean, it's easy for me to say, being a corporate person, okay, that, you know, I love the company, and I love the partners, and I love the culture, but I do. And you're right, that not everything's perfect. We'll get it pretty good, right? Or it's getting really good, but the whole overall opportunity is the best I've seen. I've not seen anything like it.
From a field perspective, it's the best I've ever been involved with.
Yeah,
it's the best I've ever been involved with, and I've been in part of $2 billion companies who were already a $1 billion company when I joined. So someone had already created that momentum. Zinzino has everything in place to be a $1 billion company. It only did 80 million last year. We grew 54%. Somebody was at 80 million at 54% growth in other $1 billion companies before. We happen to be the people at 54%, $80 million euro company. And we're the ones who can ride that wave to a $1 billion company in the next 5 years. Truly believe that with all my heart.
Yeah, and we're doing it when you've got a pandemic, when people are, you know, at home, when the future is uncertain for a lot of people, and it's tough for a lot of people right now. So, you know, the economy, the world needs successful companies. So, you know, I'm proud of what we're doing together in building this market. And yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. For new people or people who've just joined, what advice would you give them today?
I mean, again, I've not seen a company that has the tools and resources in place. Even the $2 billion companies I was with previously, I still had to be we're part of a team here, and there's various teams probably on this call, UK-wise, European-wise, Australia. I see folks up early in Australia, and they're up in the mid-afternoon in the US, and we're all part of different teams. But I've never seen a company that its own material is consistent for everyone.
Yeah.
And that I didn't have to come in and go, I need to create something to keep whoever I built together until the company figured it out. I mean, the Express Star is just an incredible document. It's an A3 document. I keep it with me everywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's the blueprint. It's the blueprint for success. It's a road that's already paved. The only thing I share with people, if you're going to do anything, is give it a year, 60 days to a year to learn the apprenticeship. But when you qualify the apprenticeship, qualify at least as a diamond in the next 12 months. So would you give me 10 or 15 hours a week, 5 hours a week to plug into every online event that the corporate and your team's putting on? Why? So you can learn. Not because you've seen it once or twice. I learn every time. And I can tell you, I learn more from people who are coming through the ranks than people who already arrived.
Yeah.
But sometimes the people who arrived, they've arrived at their station. I like to hear people who are in the hunt, because they're sharing what's something that's relevant. So my advice would be a student. Be a student. If you're an orthodontist, still be a student to this industry. If you're an engineer, still be a student to this industry. And learn this one line. It's my favorite line. What do I do next? Not how it all works, because I don't even figure it out yet. But what do I do next? So it gets me to the next part of where I need to be to grow. Because when I get there, I would have changed my thinking to understand the next bit that's relevant to take me to the next station. So be a student would be my advice.
Okay, and what mistakes do people make on the way, generally, do you see?
Not being a student.
Yeah.
They'll try and do it their way, right? Because I've done it, you know. That's like me being a chef and coming in and telling you how to run the corporate role.
Yeah.
Because I know how to run a kitchen. But the skills to run a kitchen are the same skills to run a corporate role. But there's some tweaking to be done. There's an understanding why processes are the way they are. So often, I mean, for those who are in catering, you'll know this. There's a rank called rank. There's a position as you join catering out of catering college called commie chef. That is not where you want to be. A commie chef leaves college with some of you are smiling. So whether you've had catering backgrounds, I don't know. But when I left college, I wanted to be a Gordon Ramsay. You don't go from catering college to being a Gordon Ramsay without serving your time, peeling and turning the potatoes. And being rejected by Gordon Ramsay when he says those carrots aren't turned properly. Go back, we have standards. So sometimes I think we want it so bad, we get so frustrated and frustration is great. Frustration means you see it and you want it, but you can't get it there quick enough. I'd rather help people who are frustrated than people who have given up. So my biggest mistake is sometimes we try to shortcut the shortcut.
Yeah. So if people are not getting the results they're expecting, say 60 days, 120 days, 1 year, doesn't matter. What do you do? What would you do, and what would you tell people to do if they come to you say, not getting results, I want Dave, I'm disillusioned, I'm not motivated. I mean, we're not here in Zinzino yet, but it happens to everybody. But
I think every time I've been in that position, and guess what, I've been in it, and I will experience it again, because it happens at every level. It happens in life, doesn't it? It happens when you go to the gym. It happens in a relationship. That's just life. It's part of life. Sometimes things are good, some things aren't so good, and sometimes you have to restart. I think the thing I have always done, and I encourage people, is one, press the restart button. You didn't hit the fast start bonuses. I've had people tell me, you know what, I've not hit the fast start bonuses. This isn't for me. I think I'm going to quit. What, you're going to quit over 800 euros that you didn't hit and leave the 8 to 10,000 a month you could make in 24 months from now because you didn't hit the quick start? Reset. But you know, that's so easy to say and that's so logical to say. So it's not, that's the key. That isn't the key. The key is, why did you get in? This is what Barry said to me, and I love it. When things aren't going the way you want them to go and you feel like quitting, two things. What are you going to quit to? Yeah. You joined for a reason because what you're doing wasn't getting you what you wanted. And now you're going to quit because this isn't going the way you want it. And you're going to quit to the thing that you were trying to get away from.
Yeah.
What are you going to quit to? And he says, the other thing, the reason why you're not getting where you want, Dave, because you haven't grown up enough yet to understand what to do properly. Ooh, personal growth. People don't like that. People don't like that. But when you embrace that, and I've never found a company that has got an app that I can listen to every morning and listen to an audio. I've got a video scroll. I can watch videos. When I was 21, I used to buy £8 worth of 2 cassettes that you used to have to tighten up. Right? And then we had 2 tape of the weeks. One was called Tape of the Week, TOW, and it would be the stories of the successes. And if you were really serious, we bought a go-getter tape, 2 tapes, and I'd devour them. I'd devour them. And you know what I learned the most? Is they were no different than me. Yeah. They may have been doing it longer. They may have failed more, but they were persistent. And consistency in this industry will always outproduce ability. I see so many people in the industry come and go who could wipe the floor with me, could wipe the floor with some of the presidents we're seeing in Zinzino today, but they've been around 5 years, 10 years, 12 years. They just didn't quit.
Yep. No, fantastic. Okay, so Zinzino obviously is customer centric, the most customer focused company in the industry, no doubt about it. Do you focus on customers or partners or both? What's your strategy there?
I mean, I think you asked Marco this question, and I remember what he said. You know, and I think his answer was both. But what I've seen personally for me is, again, in previous endeavors, I never got customers. I was always a recruiter, you know, share the dream, build the dream, and get them in, spend 4 hours in front of a whiteboard, and then hit them with the company 4 hours later. So, but it was dream build, dream build, dream build. Oh, by the way, this is what we're doing. I don't want to do that. Well, I know you don't want to do that, but you said you wanted that. Can you get that? Doing anything else? You can't. Well, you don't even have to like to do this. Just get it, come in and do it. So that was a whole, so I never got customers. And the other things I used to do was my customers were always a frog, log, and a dog. And for those who've never been in the industry, what I mean by that is in other companies, you had to have an element of a customer to qualify to get paid on commissions. So it used to be my mum, my auntie, my sister, my frog, my goldfish. It didn't matter who it was, but my mum, my goldfish, my dog, they never bought it. I paid for it so I could get my commissions. And so when I saw this and I sat in front of Orion, and I said to Marco, actually, how many personal customers have you got? And he told me, I went, wow, that's more than anyone. Now, it wasn't a lot, but it's a hell of a lot more than what we've ever had. We've just had someone here go top team today on the team, 100 subscriptions. I've never seen that. So when I started in here and I went, could I build this if no one I knew joined me? And could I walk out of my door and could I ask someone, is health important to you? If there was a test that we could take, would you look at a 2-minute video? I knew I could go and get customers. I've never done that. And you know what? I want a customer now. I want a customer to be a customer. Because so many times there's people that get in network marketing, they should only be customers, but we convince them to join us because the product's too expensive. And the only way they're going to buy it is if they're in getting a discount.
Yeah.
Here we got affordable product, proven, test-based, and independently tested. And so I've never been so excited to sit in front of people and just talk about the product. Because if we do that enough, the money will naturally flow because of the customers consuming the product that they need.
Love it. So what's your short-term, long-term goals now, Dave?
To get you in my business. Because I went to meet you, Steve, about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago for a coffee. And I sat down with you because I knew you had some great experience in the business. You know, you've run $2 billion companies in 20 years. 2 decades, you've run $2 billion companies. Then you took a decade out in Asia. And I thought, Steve must know a few people he can help me with. So having a cup of coffee, Steve asked me what was I doing. I showed him and he went, this is very good. I only went to show you, to get you to be a customer and ask you for a referral. Next thing I know, you come to, actually, this just shows you folks. I came out of that coffee meeting and I rang Orion, the founder. I said, I've just found a really sharp guy. I said, and he said, great, is he coming this weekend? And that weekend, we had our annual convention at Globan. I went, I didn't ask him. Now, I've got years of experience, right? Why didn't I ask you? I didn't think you'd be interested in coming. I had already made a decision for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I haven't, Orion. Well, if he's that good, Dave, bring him over. Okay, right. Hey, Steve, what are you doing this weekend? I knew you were going to ask me that. Well, can you make Globan? No, Dave, I've got a commitment on Saturday. Guess what we would do generally? Our enthusiasm would have died, right? No, I can't make it, Dave. I'm committed on Saturday. Oh, okay. Oh, I'll fly out Sunday, though, Dave. Oh, what? You're going to come Sunday? So I didn't expect you to go corporate, mate.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're corporate because you're skilled in doing what you're doing. And I'm so thankful. But look at that coffee meet, sliding doors, one moment, a fork in the road. Everything happens on a moment. and we must be ready to seize it. And so I'm thankful that you were open. I'm thankful for that coffee. I'm thankful for the leadership of Oren and Marco and Hilda. I'm just, my goal is to finish my career with Zinzino and finish what I started when I was 21. And that is to impact as many people from a health perspective, from a prosperity perspective, that when they, now I'm going to get emotional now, when they sit down with their children, that when they glance across the table in somewhere exotic and the beaches and the sands are between our toes and the kids are playing freely and swimming the dolphins, that we all glance at each other and know that I played a small part in their freedom. Yeah. I want to help as many mums and dads become full-time mums and dads because they've replaced their income that they've had to exchange linear hours for money because they invested over the next 2-3 years. And I helped them sometimes to stay in when they wanted to quit because they lost sight of the major because they were focusing on the minors. That's my long-term vision.
That's fantastic as well. And, you know, helping people succeed, seeing their results, seeing how it changes people's lives. That's why I'm here. Just so everyone knows, I've never built a network. I have been asked 1 trillion times. And I've always been neutral and I've always been corporate. And it's just how I'm made inside. So I was a bit of a industry baby, and that's my life and my focus. But Dave, that was amazing. So what's your we're kind of near the end now, Dave. What is if you had a magic wand and the UK market's launched now and Zinzino, where do you see UK in a couple of years? Where do you see us in terms of the overall size in terms of the business? What's next for us?
First for us as a team and an organization is I can't wait for what mobility that we can get to see, hug and celebrate people physically. Because that's you know, they say there's 3 things that will guarantee success or failure. 1, what you read, 2, what you listen to, and 3, who you hang out with. Right now we can listen to the best. We can read the best about the best. We can listen to the best. One thing that's missing right now is that a physical association of coming together on a monthly basis. So that's the most exciting thing for me. I can't wait to meet the people I've already met online. So that's something that I'm keen to do. As a company, I think Zinzino personally is everything for Britain that's been missing in many decades. No hype, just a good product, great service, affordability, and a market that needs it. So when we've got that combination, you should be able to get to the point where your belief is that you're bringing value, whether they want to be a consumer or want to be a partner. We have something that will impact and change. In the next 24 months, I've said 200,000 customers in the United Kingdom. But long term, I see many faces on here that are young. I see many faces not so young. But I believe what we got here for the United Kingdom and the rest of the world is generational wealth that our offsprings could benefit from, because who's going to stop consuming their oil, their multivitamin, their biotic when I'm no longer around, because they understand what it's done for them. It's proven. My daughter and my children and my grandchildren can get royally remunerated based on what granddad did in his family tree. That's something that will wake up Britain.
Yeah, fantastic. I couldn't agree more, Dave. Coming to the end now, Dave, any final thoughts for everybody in terms of the platinum trip? Is something I'm excited about, and I agree that we're going to do a massive launch at some point, and we have all these meetings every night of the week.
I mean, my closing thought, Steve, is, you know, when opportunity crosses your path of readiness. See, so many people have opportunities presented on a daily basis, and they jump at things. Why? Sometimes we grab opportunity based on the need for it. What will it give me now? Rather than a long term. So right now I tell people, just pause and analyze. what would the next 12 months mean to you? If you could build a solid customer base and a handful of good people on your team, that would make you 3,000 to 4,000 a month. What would that do for you? Write down that dream board, visualize it, put it in your journal, date it, put it in your sun visor. If you can't tell me in a paragraph what £4,000 will do for you a month, you're not emotionally attached to the outcome yet. You're only attached to what the money you can earn. And when the money doesn't flow, that was the thing, actually, I'll say Barry said to me the other thing. The thing was that Barry actually said to me that changed my life was, Dave, when people tell you that they want something, but they're not willing to go after it, it's two things. They never wanted it bad enough in the beginning, or they lack the belief in themselves to get it done. So get around people who will build you to be the person. Build the man, they'll build the plan. So many people are trying to show people the opportunity, and we have a great opportunity, but I'm only looking to find people who want things bad enough, long as it's legal, moral, and ethical, that they'll carve out 10 or 15 hours a week to be a student, but not to me, but to the system, and then together roll up the sleeves and go to work. Because Zinzino is going to affect many lives in Britain. You all are in right now. Don't be the ones who look back 2 years from now and go, I was in that thing when they were launched. Do you know what? They only brought the pound out. We still had to wait 2 weeks for the brochures. I thought, you know what? They dosage cups. I mean, where were they? I thought don't let the small things steal your dream. Yeah. When the dream's big enough, the facts don't count, as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical. And Zinzino is all of the above. And I'm thankful for you, Steve. Thankful for the team, and I'm thankful for Marco Passanante and the leadership. There's nothing ever been more right. This is truly the perfect storm, but even that film, it was very uncomfortable through a lot of it, but they got through it. This is the perfect storm. Get ready. Your hair's going to be blown back. You're going to get some salt water in your eyes, but don't cry over it. Just wipe it. Hold on tight to the rope, because this ship is really sailing, and we've got lots of lives to touch. But thank you, Steve.
Dave, you're an absolute legend. I've absolutely loved working with you this year. Thank you for bringing me into the Zinzino family as well. Thank you, everyone, for being on the call tonight. And let's give a big round of applause as we can on Zoom to Mr. Dave Ives, everybody. Thank you, Dave.
Good night, folks. Thanks, Steve.